All right. Rachel, I'll ask you. Producer Harry has this question in the rundown, and I think it's a fair question. Does Josh Allen have to be Superman for the Bills to win? Because I feel like he was as close to Superman as you could get for 58.5 minutes on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he has to be. He led the team in rushing. He scored 2 touchdowns. He threw for 186 yards, which could have been better if he didn't have a couple drops. I mean, if Stephon Diggs catches that 60-yard bomb, now Josh Allen's having a 250-yard game with 72 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's, he's probably wondering what he has to do. And I don't know what the answer is for the Bills at this point. I thought this was the Bills' best shot at beating the Chiefs. You got them in Buffalo finally. You have your home crowd. Josh Allen's playing great football, and Patrick Mahomes doesn't have any weapons except for an aging Travis Kelce who finally showed up and actually looked awesome. But the Chiefs it's the Wile E. Coyote trying to chase the Roadrunner here. That's what it feels like with the Bills. I don't feel good about the Bills ever beating the Chiefs in the playoffs. It's just, it doesn't feel like, we were talking about what changes they need to make, and all these guys, Brinson mentioned, maybe Stephon Diggs isn't there next year, and that there's going to be kind of an overhaul. And also, you're looking at the 5-year rule, which is, I think it's no team has ever had a starting quarterback and a head coach together and not win a Super Bowl within 5 years and then end up winning one after that.
Nice.
So it's, you don't start over. You've got Josh Allen, and you're going to be a playoff team as long as you have Josh Allen. But what do you have to do to get over the hump? Because whatever they're doing isn't working.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is one of those situations where, and I think you tend to see this in college a little bit more than the NFL, maybe, but Sean McDermott and I don't want to say Brandon Beane, because I think Brandon Beane would stick around in this particular scenario, but Sean McDermott has gotten, here's the question. Has Sean McDermott gotten the Bills to their ceiling under Sean McDermott? Like, can he win? Can the Bills win a Super Bowl with Sean McDermott? And I don't know if the answer is yes, but I also don't know if the answer is because of Sean McDermott. It may just very well be incredibly similar to what happened for 20 plus years with the Patriots, where you had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and beating them is really hard, and it happens once every couple of years, and somebody sneaks into the AFC and steals the Super Bowl, and otherwise you're just sort of dealing with that a lot. And I mean, like, that was the case with a ton of teams for years in the AFC. And, granted, the Ravens got through and got a Super Bowl. The Broncos got through and got a Super Bowl. The Steelers had 2 in that time span, I guess, right? 2, both of those were in that time span, right? Yeah. So I mean, like, the issue is that it just magnifies everything when there's this one team you can't get past. Like, that was the whole thing with the Bulls and the Pistons in the 90s. It was like the Bulls just can't beat this team. Like, they're going to have to face them, and you don't get a 7-game series to do it. You get one game. And in that one game, it's almost like the personality of the coach is so important. And then you look, and I see Adam Schefter just tweeted this out a second ago, but here's a list of Bills free agents this offseason. Gabe Davis, Micah Hyde, Leonard Floyd, Tyrell Dodson, Dane Jackson, AJ Epinesa, Taylor Rapp, Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, Jordan Phillips, Poona Ford, Linville Joseph, Shaq Lawson, Trent Sherfield, David Edwards, Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson, Damian Harris, Cameron Lewis, and Kyle Allen. Now, some of those guys don't matter, but that's a bunch of defensive players. And I think you could make the case that, I don't see how you could move on in a different direction from a coaching perspective. But what if it just feels like you're butting up against a wall, and the only reaction is to try to bring in somebody, especially would Jim Harbaugh take the Buffalo job right now? He would, right?
I don't know.
Would
I
Belichick?
mean,
Look, what you just said about has McDermott hit his ceiling. This is 3 straight seasons they've been knocked out in the divisional round, because the last year lost to the Bengals, and obviously the 13-second loss 2 years ago to the Chiefs. And so that's what you've done since your AFC title game appearance in 2020, which was also a loss to the Chiefs. And it does feel like there's that hump you just can't get over.
Right. And a lot of times the answer for billionaires when you can't get over that hump is to. And I don't think we're I don't think we're going to hear Sean McDermott's fired tomorrow or anything like that. But if the Bills decided, if you were going to make a move, if you're Buffalo, it's pretty rare when you can say there's definitely an upgrade out there. Like every single coach, like the Bills would obviously move to the immediate top of the list in terms of the coaching jobs available. And would you, I mean, if I was Terry Pagula, I would say, Sean, you've done an incredible job getting us to a spot where we are perennially contending. I think you were an elite coach. I think that we may just have hit our ceiling. And then I would go give Jim Harbaugh $20 million a year. Bring him to Buffalo and let him win a championship because I think he would.
Okay, that sounds wild to me, given how successful Sean McDermott's been. And the grass isn't always greener. But, I mean, look, if that's what Mr. Pagula wants to do, that's certainly his prerogative. But, and I know there's been, the Tyler Dunn story came out, and there's some things going on the inside. But that seemed to galvanize that team. And I don't think they lost today because of Sean McDermott.
Well, and to be clear, the Bills were, as I'm sure many people are aware, my Super Bowl pick before the season. And I doubled down on it. So I'm not saying, I like the Bills. I just wonder how I think the impact of a playoff loss in which you miss wide right for the third, losing to the Chiefs for the third time, and you lost to the Bengals too. And it feels like these other teams in the AFC have this sort of edge somehow to get further in the playoffs than you do, despite having all these great players. I just wonder if there might be a sense of we need to make a change, sometimes just for change's sake. I'm not advocating for it.
Yeah, Brent's is not saying that Sean McDermott should be fired. It's just look at the Eagles, where there was, hey, Nick Sirianni just led us to a Super Bowl, but maybe we're unhappy. Look at the Cowboys, where Mike McCarthy had to get a vote of confidence, even though he's gone 12-5 for 3 straight seasons, where you have these crazy rich guys just get an itchy finger of, why can't we get to the Super Bowl when Patrick Mahomes does it every year? What do I need to do? And sometimes, we saw Sean McDermott fire Ken Dorsey, and obviously that decision worked out, but now
Bill Belichick just got fired.
Right. And even though you fired Dorsey, you're back where you were at the end of last season, at the end of the season before that. And so it's how many times can you rearrange the deck chairs? So it's just kind of one of those things where, look, McDermott's done a fantastic job. I think he's a great coach. It's more of what would an owner decide. Billionaires are fickle people. I'm not one.
And let's not forget that, I mean, look, again, I'm not arguing that this should happen. I'm just saying that, McDermott he's very, he got fired by Andy Reid in Philadelphia. And I think that as much as there's a Chiefs own the Bills in the postseason, there's also a Andy kind of owns Sean in the postseason thing too. That I feel like is maybe softly bubbling up a bit around this matchup.